Hello guys, in this tutorial we'll be learning how to make this beautiful female pants with zipper and band in it. So we'll be learning how to cut it in this tutorial. If you would like to see it to the end, please keep watching. Now, to make our trouser, we need our fabric, our cutting tool, scissors, rulers, tape rule, chalk. Then our measurement is very important. So let's get into the tutorial. Now I'll be folding my fabric. To make your trouser, having take all your measurement, you want to fold your trouser with your thigh measurement. The measurement you take at the upper part of the thigh. So for my thigh, for this tutorial, I'm using 30 inches. So my thigh is going to be divided into 2, which will give me 15 inches. So I'm going to be folding my thigh divided by 2 plus half inch, and that will give me 15.5 inch. So if you like, you can decide to use 1 inch as it pleases you. So next, I'm going to be taking the length of my trouser. My trouser length is 40 inches. Because I'll be having a band in it, I raise my tape up with 1 inch. So that means I'm going to be having 39 inches now. So I mark out my 39 inches because by the time I add my band of 1.5 to it, it's going to make up for the trouser length. Next, I'm going to add extra 2 inches. You can make it 2.5 as you wish. So I add the hem allowance to it, which is 2.5 inches all through. And then I'm going to connect this as well. So I have my actual trouser length and my hem in it. Now remember the half inch that was added. I'm going to ensure that I indicate this half inch that was added to my measurement. So I'm taking out the half inch, connected it, and from this half inch I'm going to be taking all other measurements. So the next thing we'll be doing is to mark our trouser block. Our trouser block is usually hip measurement divided by 4. So for my trouser block, my hip measurement is 46. If I divide it by 4, I have 11.5. So I mark 11.5 all through from the half inch. So I'm taking my other vertical measurement now, which is my waist to the hip, still using -1. Remember the band, so all length measurement will be -1. So I take my hip length, which is 8 inches, my crotch depth, which is 11.5 plus half inch. That's my hip divided by 4 plus half inch, making it 12 inches. So I'm going to mark this as well. I connect this and I extend it out because I know I'm going to have my thigh more than my hip. Remember, the block we have there is just our hip measurements there. So next, I'm going to take my knee length. My knee length is 21 inches for this dress. Okay, 20 inches. I use 20 inches -1. Don't forget to always take off the 1 inch for your band. So I have all my measurements. Remember, I've taken the full length earlier. Next, I'm going to mark out our waist measurements now. To mark my waist measurement, I'm going to take ½ inch away from my hip measurement. On that corner where I am now, on that spot, I take ½ inch. Then I'm going to take my hip waist measurement, which is 9.5. Then I know that what I have here is my hip, so I'm going to just leave that way. Next, I'm going to take my crush. So starting from the ½ inch, I take my tie on my crush line. The tie I'm working with, remember, it is 15 inches. So I mark the 15 inches there. Next, I'm going to determine my plumb line. My plumb line is going to be my tie divided by 2. So that gives me 7.5. So I'm just going to take this 7.5 from my ½ inch behind all through to the hem line. And that is what I have connected there. Having connected this, I'm going to be taking all my circumference measurement from that center. I mean the lower circumference, like my knee circumference and the ankle circumference. So from that center line, I know that I have 7.5 towards this side and 7.5 towards the other side. So mark my knee circumference there, which is 10 inches divided by 2. So I took 5 to the back, 5 to the front, and the same thing to the ankle, 14 inches, which is 7 inches divided by 2. And from the center, which is the plumb line, I took 3.5 towards the back and towards the front. Now I'm going to be connecting all these my points together. So this is where your curves comes in place. I start with my waist. From my waist to my hip measurement, you can see how I'm connecting it. So my trouser is taking shape. With my trouser curve, I'm going to be connecting my hip to the knee. This my client is very curvy. You can see the shape in it. So now I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect from my knee down to my ankle. So the same thing to the other side. I connect from the knee to the crotch depth to my thigh there, then down to my knee with slight curve. I didn't use the straight ruler from the knee like I did in the other side. At the front part, you need to slightly curve it. And so the next thing is to draw our crotch. Our crotch is going to be 1 inch. Don't go below 1 inch. So you can do 1 inch or 1.5. For this measurement, I do 1 inch. So I'm going to connect this in a slight curve to form an arc, connecting my thigh to my trouser block. So the next thing, I'm going to connect from my hip to the ½ inch measurement, remember, where our waist was taken. So we have all our measurements intact now. Remember, we left ½ inch behind the hip, behind the main block, the trouser block. Now this ½ inch is what we'll be working on now to add our seam allowance. So I already have the ½ inch on my hip. I won't be touching that area. Then I'll be adding the ½ inch to other parts of it, only on the side having the hip. There is no other allowance on trouser except when you are cutting for the back. All other allowance will go to the back. But for the front, you only need this ½ inch measurement for joining of the sides, the side seams. So you can see all my measurements are intact. I'm going to start cutting now. While cutting, be careful. Here I just open up because it's just ½ inch that I have there. So I cut all the way down with my ½ inch seam allowance line. So my trouser has been cut out, as you can see. Next is to cut our back bodies. You can see those slight curves, so it will make the trouser to be relaxed and not skews up around those side. So I'm placing my fabric in a way that I don't waste my materials. Okay, so I just place such that around the crush I have extra 3.5 inches allowance there. 3.5 inches allowance there. You can use 3 inches depending on the measurement, but when the measurement is 42 and above, that's the hip you are working with is 42 and above, just try to have 3.5 around that side. So on my other part I added 2 inches, and when I get to the nail side I added 2.5, and on getting to my crush I used 3.5. So I'm going to extend my crush line. I'm extending my crush line, and then I come down by 1 inch. 1 inch, sorry, ½ inch. The reason is because by the time you are joining your trouser, you see that the back will be longer than the front. So to avoid this, you just mark that ½ inch downwards. Then I increase my trouser length at the back with 2 inches, and then I connect. You can see that. So I have a new line for my back. Then it is going to be connected to the ½ inch, not on the main line of the crush. So I connected to the ½ inch, and then I just come in by 1.5 to start connecting my curve. You can see it, so that the curve is not too much, it's not going to be too bulky. So I just cut out the parts behind so you can see what I'm doing to reduce the length. Okay, so my 2 inches that I added there, can use 1.5 depending on what you want. I actually use 1.5. Yes, I use 1.5. So I raise it up with 1.5, and then I will be connecting it down to my previous line, and then I come down by 1 inch on the front. I come down by 1 inch on the front, so there is a slope on the front and at the back. The back is higher than the front, while the front is lower. You can see it as I cut. So our trouser is taking shape and then I'm going to go ahead and cut other part of it. You may need to fold your hemline before cutting, but I have already taken care of this part, so that by the time you are hemming your trouser, it will not be short. So I've taken care of this part as I'm taking my measurement, please. So you can fold before cutting, fold your hemline to your actual length before cutting, and if you know how to do it this way, it's still fine. So this is the outcome of our trouser cutting. You can see it. This is the back, sorry, the front, and then this is the back. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and my client is going to be rocking it with this beautiful top. You can see the top. If you want me to make video on this top, please drop it in the comment section. I will love to give a video on it if you want me to do that. So thank you very much for viewing. Please like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channels. Don't forget to click the notification bell so that you get updated when we upload new videos. I hope to see you in other tutorials. Have a wonderful day. Bye.